Hi there, and welcome to possibly the first cast here for Number One Geek. This is the Number One Geek Talks section, and I'm here with Darryl Vincent, who is with his I forget what's the name of your blog again?
My blog is Fanatic Musings. You can find me on Twitter at fanatic_musings. On Twitter, that's my Twitter handle. I do that a lot there. You can find me on Facebook. A lot of people also know me as Dark Hiram from the Mando Mercs. And I'm just a big Star Wars fan, having a sit down with my buddy Saz.
Shall we have a conversation about something?
Well, I've been working on my Rex helmet.
Have you?
Yep, I'm making a realistic version of the Rebels Captain Rex helmet.
Tell us about your old man.
Okay, so I guess we'll start from the beginning. I got the idea to do Old Man Rex because I've been shaving my head and I've been growing my beard out, and as a veteran, I'm like, well, hey, I can pull this disgruntled old man off fairly well, and everybody seemed to be fairly receptive of the idea. So around the Rogue One release, some friends helped me with getting some clone armor, and that eventually spurred me to get a little bit more accurate looking clone armor, and also the helmet, which I modified with Bondo and shaping and whatnot to get the right edges and angles in the cheeks, to get the T-visor to look right, and then I used Bondo in a pastry bag, disposable pastry bag, to make the mock weld lines that are on his forehead and around the face and everything. So I've put a lot of work into it because there's no actual references of a realistic style Old Man Rex helmet. I've been basing it a lot off of the Sideshow Collectibles figure, but so far it's been pretty well received by everybody.
Is there any particular reason why you want to do Rex? Because there are several other old men versions of the clone troopers.
Well, Old Man Rex is pretty heavily featured in the Rebels cartoon show, and when Dave Filoni introduced them, he touches on the symptoms of PTSD without going directly into and saying this is veterans with PTSD. You know, the characters have some behaviors that as a veteran I can pick up on. The way Commander Wolf responds when he sees the lightsaber, when Kanan ignites his lightsaber. You know, Wolf responds in a very frantic flashback kind of behavior. And even Rex, in one of the season 3 episodes, he turns on Ezra and kind of snaps at him a little bit. And as a veteran, you know, I can wholly, entirely relate. And it's the first time that I've worked on a costume that, you know, I've always done Dark Hiram, you know, my Mando Mercs costume. And for the first time, I'm doing a character that I relate to as a fan, rather than a expression of my identity, such as what Dar is. Dar has always been just an expression of my identity to the Mando Mercs Club. Old Man Rex is a character that I can relate with that isn't of my own creation.
Okay, so is it just Star Wars itself, or is it geekdom in general that seems to appeal to you as an ex-serviceman with PTSD?
As a whole, it's definitely geekdom because there are different facets that I enjoy. I love Firefly, the TV series Firefly. I've always been a huge fan of Wolverine, and Wolverine has been a very tenacious character that it doesn't matter what's thrown at him, he's able to just take it, shoulder the responsibilities he has to, and then move more forward through it. You know, I've always identified and appreciated the character of Wolverine, but as a day-to-day thing, I would certainly say Star Wars has a huge effect. I mean, if you were able to see pictures of my apartment right now, I mean, almost 90% of my walls are covered with Star Wars. I have uh, Star Wars stuff everywhere, and I believe it helps me with having a release, or rather, a fantasy world that I can play in and imagine and enjoy with my friends who are also in the same fantasy world. And it kind of gives me a bit of respite from all the demons going on inside my head.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that you're finding, for instance, people who have similar circumstances and people who have similar experiences to you, but also share the same loves and are able to help you almost forget about all the, I suppose the best way of saying it, the shit you've seen, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's I think a lot of people don't understand. I mean, obviously, me being a depression sufferer myself, I probably have a bit more of an idea of what you're going through the most. I wouldn't for one second believe that what I'm doing through is even a patch on some of the stuff that's had to go through your head and some of the stuff you've seen, to be fair. And for myself, Star Wars has always been a pleasure, but I also find that just the being with people sometimes is almost the connection that suddenly switches you back on to feeling like you yourself again. I mean, for instance, I was at SFW, which is a sci-fi weekender, which I have nothing but praise for. It's just a relaxed geek thing where everybody is in the same boat, and you just get on and appreciate all the different cosplay that people have been doing and all the different discussions and so forth. I mean, I went from one thing talking about how to write books and how to self-publish, all the way to how to build with foam, craft armor and stuff like that. And to have that experience with my friends as well, because usually, with my agoraphobia, I tend to be quite standoffish about going off and doing something. But I found myself, because of the environment, because of the friendly environment, and because they had so much on that piqued my curiosity, all my problems seemed to melt away, and I just allowed myself to become part of the event. And it's actually something that you can feel proud about, because you're finding yourself in a situation where you can actually be yourself just for once. So I'm just kind of saying, from my perspective, that's just kind of like that's a nice thing. But I suspect from your position, it's more like a godsend. Am I right?
Yeah, definitely. And I gotta say, it makes me feel good hearing you talk about being able to be out and about and have some time where, like you said, your problems just kind of relaxed and you're able to just be yourself with your friends. So I'm glad you got some respite. But you definitely, that's about what it is. It's when I'm with my friends, they don't. First of all, our community is a very tight-knit community, and so we open our doors, open our arms to a whole walks of life when it comes to, for example, our Star Wars costuming clubs. So the concept of being non-judgmental and open-minded is already there, because how do you judge somebody when they wear plastic spaceman armor? You really can't. So I can be around my friends and know that they understand that I've got issues that I've developed from being in Afghanistan and being in the military and whatnot. And whenever I have a moment when those experiences catch up and they kind of try to derail my day, my friends aren't freaking out. They're not responding negatively. They're there to support. So if it's to the degree of, say, for you, just helping you with your day-to-day agoraphobia, to me with potential meltdowns of PTSD situations, our community and our fan base, which is primarily Star Wars, but it's also a mixture of geekdoms, it all comes together, and it's what helps me get through every day, because I have a huge support network of people that I have made friends with over the years, and they've come from all walks of nerd-based life, if that makes any sense.
No, I totally understand that, and I mean the other thing I was thinking of as well, whilst you were saying that, is that one of the things that I always find is how whenever I dress up in, say, my Mandalorian kit, or everyone says I look like Hodor, and so I think, well, sod it, I'll dress myself up like Hodor and have fun with the character, and it's that one thing, it's basically someone has basically suggested this is a cosplay that you can get away with because you happen to look like Hodor. So yeah, fine, I'll do that. I have no embarrassment about that point at all. It's the thing about it is allow you to stop being so serious about yourself for once. And I think the other thing is as well is that when you out and about in your cosplay and a kid comes up to you and asks for a photograph with you, that moment is almost just if it happens just once, it just makes it worth it, makes the whole thing worth it for me. Because you know that at least one person who doesn't know you and who has not developed the skills to judge you has looked at you on your face value in front of you and said, I think you look really cool, I'd like to be seen with you. I suppose with the escapism and the affirmation of you being thought of as cool, it stops you from letting those voices in the back of your head tell you that you're a bad person, or that you don't deserve it, because the evidence is in your face, really, that people are thinking, wow, that person looks cool, or wow, I want to have that time with them. And it allows you for just a fleeting moment to say, yeah, you know what, I actually quite like myself today.
I agree with you 100%. And I think that's what makes our community so tight-knit, because we're so used to being isolated in our other aspects of life. And maybe not isolate is the right word, but I believe when I'm around my friends, and it's not just my Star Wars, costume friends, but my friends in general that's in this community. I mean, there are friends that they may not dress up in Star Wars, but they definitely love Star Wars, and they play the X-Wing tabletop miniature game, or they'll play Armada or whatever have you. But I've made friends that when they meet at a convention, they get to be who they are on the inside in society, out in public, without people judging them and looking down on them, but more so encouraging them for what they have on the inside that they're able to express in that environment. Where when they go to their day-to-day life, working at Walmart or wherever their personal life takes them, away from the rest of us. Yeah, they've got their lives, but when they come back to the community and the group, again, it's that all the hesitation goes away. All the self-doubt and the negative perspectives of themselves seem to melt away, and they get to just embrace their inner selves amongst their friends who are all doing the same thing, and it's an echo chamber of being positively reinforced by your friends.
Right, well, thank you very much for that, Dar. If you just want to quickly remind everybody of your channel and your web address again. So
you can find me on Twitter at fanatic_musings. If you look on WordPress, I'm fanaticmusingsblog.wordpress.com. That's my Twitter and my blog. It's just Star Wars stuff. I'm going to be branching out into other topics, but it's just where I go to dump the stuff in my brain out onto paper, and websites, and people get to read what I think about Star Wars and other stuff that I'm fanatic about.
There's nothing more fanatic than a geek, is there?
So, no.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time, Dar, and thank you for the conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I hope you all thoroughly enjoyed it. And if you have any comments, please make sure that you pop them down below. Also, if you want to subscribe, just hit the subscribe button, and that'd be great.